Kashin Koji has a great faith in his Prescience Shinjutsu, a special ability that lets him see information about possible futures. However, he relies on it so much that he becomes rigid in his thinking and doesn't make backup plans in case things don't go the way he expects. In this video, I'll explain several situations that show Kashin Koji has done this and how this overconfidence in his ability affects his plans to shape the future the way he wants. Kashin Koji has shown some flaws in his planning for the upcoming battle against Mamashu. In his plan to defeat Mamashu, he only explained Mamashu's abilities and how they could use his weaknesses to win. However, he didn't make any backup plan for what to do if they failed to exploit those weaknesses. What makes it worse is that Kashin Koji's Prescience Shinjutsu takes time to update him about the possible future, meaning his information might not always be immediate. Here's what happened. Kashin Koji told Shikamaru that about 1 week from the time they were speaking, Mamashu will appear in Konoha to try and devour Ada. Kashin Koji explained that Mamashu will use his special ability called Division, which allows him to create an almost unlimited number of bodies of himself. These multiple bodies are similar to shadow clones used by Tomirama, Naruto, and Boruto. But there's one major difference. Each Mamashu clone is actually a real version of him. This means there's no splitting of chakra, power, or physical strength like with normal shadow clones. Every individual Mamashu has the same power, chakra, and strength as the original. However, there's a drawback to this ability. The more copies Mamashu makes, the more his intelligence drops. Along with that, his sense of pain becomes weaker and his behavior becomes simpler and more animal-like. These two weaknesses are what Kashin Koji plans to take advantage of. His idea is to wait until Mamashu creates many copies of himself so that they become dual-minded and easy to read before attacking and cutting them all down at once. The plan depends on destroying both of Mamashu's eyes, because once a clone loses its eyes, it can no longer divide further. But the problem is that as the number of Mamashu clones decreases, Mamashu will slowly regain his intelligence. This means they must fight perfectly and make sure no clones escape. Otherwise, Mamashu will get smarter again and become harder to defeat. Kashin Koji believes the best time to attack is when Mamashu has around 20 to 30 bodies. At that point, he expects them to be as easy to handle as wild animals, allowing them to take them all out in one big attack. Shikamaru, however, pointed out a flaw in his plan. He asked what would happen if Mamashu left one of his bodies behind at his base. Wouldn't that mean that destroying all the ones in Konoha wouldn't wipe him out completely? Kashin Koji replied that there was no need to worry about that. According to him, the divided Mamashu clones can't help but gather together. Even if one stayed behind, its instincts would make it return to the others. This behavior will become even stronger the more copies Mamashu created, as you get Dharma and act more on instinct. Kashin Koji also plans for the battle to take place in Konoha. He believes Jura won't appear there to try to devour Himawari or kill Boruto, even if both of them show up in the fight. Kashin Koji is convinced that Jura's love for Konoha will stop him from fighting there. So, what is the major flaw in Kashin Koji that can be seen in his battle plan against Mamashu? Kashin Koji relies far too much on his Prescience Shinjutsu ability. He has so much confidence in his visions and strategies that he fails to think about what to do when things don't go as planned in real life. Because of this, Kashin Koji doesn't leave any room for uncertainty or mistakes in his plans. He believes that the future he sees with his Prescience Shinjutsu will always happen exactly as he expects. This way of thinking blinds him to the unpredictable nature of battle, which is the true essence of war. While his Prescience Shinjutsu gives him insight into possible futures, it does not give him complete certainty. What makes things worse is that his ability takes time to update him about possible events, which makes it unreliable during fast-paced combat. This delay was seen during Boruto's battle with Jura. At that time, Kashin Koji could only see a possible future where Boruto was killed by Jura. His Prescience Shinjutsu only updated him later, after Kawaki appeared on the battlefield to save Boruto. This means that between the time Kashin Koji planned the Sand mission and the time Boruto actually fought Jura, his Prescience Shinjutsu didn't give him any new updates about the possible future. Because of this, he didn't know that Boruto had already told Kawaki about the Sen mission, which later led to Boruto being saved by Kawaki, Konohamaru being saved by Boruto, and everyone else surviving except for Yodo. Kashin Koji being rigid became even more obvious when Boruto was nearly killed by Jura. The updates he received about this came through Ada and his Prescience Shinjutsu ability. At that point, Kashin Koji started to panic and break down emotionally, believing that Boruto was going to die. Instead of thinking on the spot and coming up with a plan to save Boruto, he simply accepted what he thought was fate. So what do you think would happen during the mission against Mamashu if things don't go the way he saw in his Prescience Shinjutsu? The said mission was successful only because Boruto stayed calm, adaptable, and strategic when things didn't go according to either Kashin Koji's plan or his own original plan with Kawaki. Boruto showed adaptability during that mission when he saved Konohamaru and fought Jura before Kawaki arrived to distract Jura. This gave Boruto enough time to prepare his flying Raijin Jutsu and teleport everyone to safety. The original plan was actually for Kawaki to arrive first. This clearly shows that unlike Kashin Koji, Boruto is flexible and strategic, while Kashin Koji is rigid and tends to panic when things don't go according to his plans. Kashin Koji's plan only works if everything goes perfectly, if Mamashu divides as he expects, becomes dual-minded, and all the clones gather together. But as Shikamaru pointed out, if even one clone stays behind, the entire plan falls apart. What would happen if Mamashu caused enough danger in the village without needing to make too many clones? What if he only made a few, just enough to keep his intelligence sharp enough to fight in Konoha? Right now, the only people strong enough to fight Mamashu are Himawari, Sarada, Mitsuki, Kawaki, Boruto, and Daemon. So what happens if Mamashu creates just enough intelligent clones to distract these strong fighters, while his other clones cause chaos in different parts of Konoha, and at the same time hides more clones at his hideout with the other divine trees? By refusing to think about backup plans or alternative outcomes, Kashin Koji is showing dangerous arrogance, a classic mistake known as the illusion of control. Kashin Koji assumes that Mamashu's clones will always follow the instincts to regroup once Mamashu has made between 20 and 30 clones, when his intelligence drops greatly. But even when intelligence decreases, emotions and instincts can still create unexpected outcomes. For example, one of the clones might develop a strong survival instinct that makes it resist the urge to rejoin the others. That will make it much harder to destroy every single Mamashu clone at once. It's impossible to fully predict or control what these dual-minded clones might do. By treating his enemy like a predictable machine, Kashin Koji ignores the truth that chaos and irrational behavior exist in all living beings, especially during war. This kind of mistake could easily allow one surviving Mamashu clone to ruin the entire mission, exactly as Shikamaru warned him. Kashin Koji also believes that Jura won't attack Konoha because of his supposed love for it. But that way of thinking is far too rigid. People's feelings can change, so can Jura's. Jura has been reading books that have made him experience new emotions. He's also gained emotional awareness through the shared senses of the other divine trees ever since Mamashu felt sadness, anger, love, and happiness while being near Konohamaru. So what if Jura's emotions towards Konoha change? What if he begins to see love differently and decides that fighting in Konoha is not against his feelings, but rather an act tied to his new understanding of love? In that case, Kashin Koji's entire calculation will fall apart. This could lead to a situation where Boruto and Himawari arrive on the battlefield and Jura appears to kill Boruto or devour Himawari. Kashin Koji wants everything to happen exactly as he has seen through his Prescience Shinjutsu. He wants perfect conditions before acting. When Mamashu has multiplied to a specific number, become dumb enough, and when all the timing lines up perfectly. However, a wise shinobi like Boruto acts with flexibility, adapting as the battle changes, just like he did during the Sen Shinobi. Kashin Koji's way of thinking makes him wait for perfection instead of creating opportunities. This wait for a perfect moment mindset turns him into a reactive strategist, not a proactive one. By the time he reacts, the situation on the battlefield might already have changed, and because his Shinjutsu takes time to update, he'll always be one step behind reality. Kashin Koji's mistakes are not about tactics but about psychology. He's overconfident in his ability to see the future, which makes him believe things will always go the way he expects. He ignores the natural chaos of war, doesn't make up any backup plans, and assumes his enemies will always act logically, even though they're unpredictable. On top of that, he underestimates the power of time and emotion, two of the most dangerous forces in any kind of conflict.